So I'm going to go through and talk about the treasurer's report, and there's kind of a good news, bad news thing here. So this is the final audited budget report from 2017. And so if you look at the slide here, down at the bottom under our budget area, we were projecting to lose about $300,000. And it's really because a lot of the new initiatives that we're advancing they're not making money for us. They are things where we're advocating for the specialty, and there's a change in maintenance of certification. So a lot of the things that used to be revenue sources for us are also changing. And so there's starting to be a little bit of a mismatch in the balance of what we bring in and what we put out as we change from more of an just education organization to an advocate for the specialty. And I think that this is a great evolution for us, but it does change what happens to our budget and our bottom line. Now, thankfully, this last year, Tom and his staff were able to work some miracles, and we actually ended up having a small profit. So we had a net profit of $187,000. But that's just sort of our net revenues and expenses that are above the line. And we don't necessarily look at all of the profits that we make from investments when we're doing our initial budgeting. But last year was an amazing year in the market, and so we did very well last year. And instead of having a deficit, we were ahead $1.4 million, which I wish that would work in my 401k, but yeah. So a very good year. 2018, we have had an update on our budget projections based on our last meeting, which was in September, so our board meeting at that time. And we're currently projecting a net operating income of $627,000 deficit. For looking at how things are actually running now, we may actually do better than we anticipated. We're getting a little bit more revenue than we thought that we would, so we're already a little bit ahead on that. And we're a little bit less in the expense side too. So it's very likely that this is, Tom and his staff, as good as they are, this is probably the year that we're going to have a deficit. It would be incredibly unlikely for us to not have a deficit this year. And again, it just has to do with the shift in our priorities. And going forward, looking at our 2019 approved budget, so we anticipate having a little bit more revenue than we did this past year. And we're going to try to hold down on our expenses. But with the investments in our registry and some of the other advocacy areas, we still anticipate having a deficit of roughly $300,000. Now, to look at the financial health of our organization, one of the things that you can look at are our months in reserve. So, worst case scenario, we have to cancel an academy meeting and all of, the internet shuts down. We can't make any money on anything. How many months can we continue to operate based on the money that we have? And we do split this out. So in the red, that's our net property and equipment. So that's not liquid. And so we don't consider that in our months in reserve. So we look at our actual liquid assets when we're calculating our months in reserve. Now we have a baseline that's mandated where we have to have at least 6 months in reserve. But we've been fortunate enough, under the leadership of the board and of Tom Stotzenbach, to have built up to 14 months in reserve as of 2017. This year, we anticipate being a little bit lower, but still over 14 months in reserve. And next year, we're going to continue to have a decline, but still a very, very healthy financial organization. And if you look at it, one of the reasons to have reserve is not only to be able to help us when we have a bad time financially, but it's also to invest in our future. And right now is the time that we're investing in our future, and that is the vision of PM&R Bold, and that's what we're moving forward. And I feel very comfortable with the financial, where our current finances are within the AAPM&R. So thank you very much.